Welcome to this 15-minute video on insurance for home education. Hello, my name's Michael from the Home Education Association. I'm the Vice President, and this video on insurance is of special interest to me because when my wife and I were homeschooling our kids, we often would have the kids out of the home. They would be out doing work experience, or they might be running events such as sporting, or they like to run a book club. They might like to run some other event in a hall somewhere, and we turned to HEA. They were a great help to us, and that's why I volunteer now with HEA to give something back, particularly in the area with insurance. So I've got behind me on the screen there a video on pause from our insurance broker. I'll just let her introduce herself by clicking the start button.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm from GSA Insurance Brokers, and we represent Home Education Association. You're probably wondering what we do as insurance brokers. So we're essentially the middleman between HEA and the insurance market. So we provide expert advice on what types of policies that HEA need and also their members. We work on behalf of HEA. We're not aligned to any insurance company. We like to see ourselves as an extension of the association, so working with you, not for you. Our role as insurance brokers is to essentially capture the organisation in its entirety. So I know a lot of people go through insurance renewals for their home or their car, or may previously gone through the process of doing business insurance as well. So there is a lot of information gathering at the start. Once we've done our due diligence and understand the risks of the business or the organisation, we can then put forward a recommendation about what insurance policies are needed and recommended.
So I've just paused Anna for a moment now because the first kind of insurance I and my wife needed for our family was public liability insurance. If we wanted to hire a hall for a reason, then that venue provider, or it might have been a venue provider for a sports oval, whatever it was, they asked us, have we got public liability insurance? So Anna explains in this next part of the video what that's like, what it means, and then after she's done that, I'll pause and introduce you to the next section.
The main exposure that associations face is public liability insurance. And I'm sure most of the members have heard about this type of coverage, or may have even had to prove that they had this policy in place because they've tried to rent a venue or use a third-party contractor, for instance. Typically, because this policy is the greatest exposure, it protects the association from claims and the members against claims taken by third parties for property damage and personal injury. So the policy sets out from the offset the types of activities that it will include and it will cover. So it's up to the association and members to ensure that they're not going outside of this list of activities. We declare at the beginning of the policy the types of activities that we anticipate will occur throughout the year, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is covered. Activities that are classified typical low-risk activities are included under the policy, such as education seminars, meet-up groups, play groups, or daily excursions to library, art gallery, museum. We encourage members to consider these activities, anything that we think is outside the scope of cover or classified as risky. They're encouraged to contact us directly, and we can advise whether it is or isn't covered. In the instance that it potentially is covered, we can refer this to the underwriter and they can approve the cover for us. Because the list of activities can be quite exhaustive, particularly with children and different events and activities being planned, we have put together an updated cheat sheet, essentially, where we've color-coded green, amber and red. Green representing activities that are automatically covered. Amber is activities that needs referral to the underwriter for consideration. They may ask for additional information about health and safety or how the event is being managed, and red being not accepted. It's also worth noting as well that these events are capped at 50 attendees. So this includes adults and children. We really encourage members to familiarise themselves with this cheat sheet prior to organising their events, because there's nothing more disappointing than organising an event first and then referencing to this cheat sheet and realising that it's outside the scope of cover and then potentially facing cancellation costs. And it essentially allows children to socialise together, play, attend these workshops or excursions together. For any members that are looking to host larger events, where the attendance list will be more than 50 people in total, so both adults and children, we'd encourage you to get your own insurance policy for that event. Also, for any events that are outside the list of activities that are approved, so either the green or the amber list, you would likely need your own insurance policy also. So event liability is a one-off policy you can obtain, which can be for the period of the event. So it could be a 1 day, it could be a 3 day, whatever is required, but it's something that we cannot cover under the existing policy, unfortunately.
So from time to time we had a large event. I remember we ran a large bush dance once with over 200 kids, and for that people like Anna can arrange special one-off insurance. It was a large hall, I think it was a Bushfire Brigade hall, I forget now, but whatever it was that we used, going to a broker helped us get the insurance, and it was one-off. So although the HEA creates a balance between what premium we pay, and we pay for that premium out of people's membership fees, the bigger and more risky insurance you carry is like having bigger house insurance. It costs more. So we strike a balance of how many people and how much risk is covered in the general insurance. But then we can go to Anna if you have a big event, and some people do, and you can buy one-off insurance, and we can help you get that. Just contact HEA through our email address, which is insurance@hea.edu.au.
The public liability policy is currently placed with Pro Risk Underwriting. So they are based in Australia and they are underwritten by Swiss Re Insurance. They're a reputable insurer and they have a local team here in Australia. So any queries, escalations, we can refer them to the Australian team here.
The next kind of insurance that we made use of is called voluntary workers insurance. HEA has an umbrella policy for this too, and our kids often wanted to go and get work experience. They were happy to volunteer their time. Employers, nice people, they often will give you the chance, especially because you can come during the day, and they'll just say, have you got some insurance to cover the worker in case of injury or problems? And so the voluntary workers insurance does cover kids on work experience. We just have to notify the insurer, and then we have an umbrella policy that covers it. So Anna will now explain more about the voluntary workers insurance.
The voluntary workers insurance covers you, the member, for personal injury while you're conducting any type of work or activities as part of your membership. It's worth noting that the voluntary workers insurance does not cover any member on their day-to-day activities. So for instance, if they're injured while doing their weekly shopping or out and about socialising with friends, this cover only provides members this protection while they're working on behalf of HEA or as part of their membership. For example, and as previously mentioned, at these events, a lot of the HEA members are there on a voluntary basis. As part of the voluntary workers insurance, there doesn't have to be any negligence or a cause. For instance, there is no third party to blame. So voluntary workers will cover medical costs. It includes dental costs as well, but it is worth noting that there are some excesses applicable on the type of claim and medical costs associated. For instance, if there is injury to your mouth or teeth where you need dental work, there is $1 excess applicable, so that would be $250 for the HEA policy. There may also be a time period The voluntary workers insurance policy also will not cover members if they are found to be intoxicated or have used any illegal substances. One of the major benefits of this policy, however, it will extend to work experience students when the work experience is arranged or approved by HEA. The work experience cover does not apply to anybody below 12 years of age, so that is worth considering also prior to arranging the work experience. Due diligence is also encouraged as well. We don't want students working in abattoirs or any high-risk areas where there is a higher risk of injury. So if you do have any queries or you're unsure of the type of environment that you can have your child or student placed for work experience, please just refer it to us and we can approve it or provide some advice. The typical questions that we receive about what is and what's not covered is, for instance, workers' comp insurance. Because HEA is run on a voluntary basis, there should be no income or salary wages paid. It's also worth noting also that we do not cover home insurance or the liability associated with home insurance. We will cover the events if they're hosted in your home, but for day-to-day activities, including homeschooling, this is unfortunately not covered under your public liability. In the event of a claim happening or you believe there may be a potential claim pending, we encourage you to notify us as soon as possible. This needs to go through the correct channels of notifying HEA first, and then they will pass that information on to us. We really encourage, even if you're unsure that it may develop as a claim, that you notify us as soon as possible so that we can notify the insurer whether we need to defend the claim or get the right processes in place to ensure that the claim is managed as well as possible. Finally, we just encourage you to use your due diligence when arranging these events, how you manage your safety and the safety of others as well. We really encourage you to review the insurance documents as soon as possible so that you can familiarise yourself with the coverage and also the restriction.
So in conclusion, what Anna's saying there about doing due diligence, that simply means we have this insurance to enable us to do things with our students. It's not there because we're trying to make a claim. If a claim has to be made, well, that's unfortunate. But the main thing is you want this certificate of currency that you can show to an employer or you can show to a venue operator, and then they go, okay, tick, you've got that, and they'll let you use their venue or they'll let you work at their premises. And so the insurance is more for that. It's so that you can tick the box and the venue operator or the employer knows that should the worst happen, they're covered. But Anna's point about due diligence, and we've never seen otherwise, is that you try and avoid accidents at all costs. You make sure that you do your risk assessments and you take care, emphasise that with your students, and then everybody's happy. If we end up having a lot of claims, then obviously the premiums go up and that spoils it for everybody. So the aim here is to provide something that's affordable within our members' fees and that it becomes an enabler. We're not doing it so that we can go and make a claim. The claiming is merely if the worst happens. So the final point is then, just remember you can contact us on insurance@hea.edu.au. You've seen Anna on the screen. She and her team are here to help us, and hopefully you can either avail yourself of our general insurance or you can get tailored insurance for what you need. For example, Anna can get good travel insurance if you're doing road trips or educational trips and you want travel insurance. That's another thing that they offer.